GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Good night, Montreal.
SBVM announced it will arrest a suspect tied to more than a dozen residential break-ins that occurred across the city in the first 3 weeks of July. Police say the individual was identified through forensic evidence and surveillance footage linking him to each incident. The arrests are scheduled for later today, with officials confirming that the suspect will be charged with multiple counts of breaking and entering. Authorities noted that the string of burglaries targeted homes in several neighborhoods, prompting heightened patrols and public safety alerts throughout early July. SBVM spokesperson emphasized that the operation demonstrates the department's ongoing focus on violent property crimes, and that further investigations will continue to determine whether additional accomplices were involved. The suspect is expected to appear before a court later this week. The case adds to a broader effort to curb property crime across the island.
Dedmon is set to make his first appearance in a red and white jersey when the Alouettes host the Hamilton Tiger Cats this Sunday at Percival Molson Memorial Stadium. The move aims to revitalize the team's kick return unit, which has struggled for consistency early in the season. Coach Jason Moss said the addition brings speed and a fresh look to special teams, and the coaching staff expects Dedmon to contribute immediately on punt and kickoff returns. Hamilton arrives after a strong showing against Toronto, while the Alouettes look to improve their field position and spark momentum ahead of the final stretch of the campaign. Fans can catch the action on television, and at the stadium, with kickoff scheduled for 10 a.m., the club has refined its return schemes in practice, and Dedmon's speed was highlighted during preseason drills. Montreal's fans hope the spark will translate into better field position throughout the season.
Android phone users in the Greater Montreal area can now add their Opus Transit passes directly to their devices, eliminating the need for a physical card. The new digital option launched today works with most Android smartphones running the latest operating system. Riders simply download the SDM app, scan their existing card, and the pass appears in the phone's wallet feature, ready for tap-on entry at bus shelters, metro stations, and commuter rail platforms. SDM officials say the move aims to streamline boarding and reduce card handling costs, and it aligns with similar digital ticketing programs in other major transit networks. The feature is being rolled out across the island and surrounding suburbs, with support staff on hand at select kiosks to assist users unfamiliar with the process. The service will remain available as long as the app is supported.
Canada's men's national soccer team will host 2 South American rivals this fall. First, the squad travels to Toronto for a friendly against Chile on September 26 at BMO Field. A week later, the team returns to Montreal to meet Peru on October 3 at Stade Saputo. Both matches are meant to sharpen the roster ahead of upcoming international competitions. The coach will use the games to evaluate new talent and test tactical changes. Ticket sales open next week, with seating available at both venues. Officials say the fixtures aim to boost fan engagement across the country, offering supporters a chance to see the national side compete against strong opponents before the winter calendar begins. Both games will be televised nationally, giving fans from coast to coast live access today.
Earlier today, a suspected tornado ripped through the Laurentians, leaving a trail of broken trees, damaged homes, and downed power lines across the popular vacation region. Environment Canada confirmed the event as a rare severe weather occurrence for Quebec and has launched an investigation to determine its exact nature. Agency spokesperson Dominic Martel said the damage pattern matches that of a brief high-wind vortex, but stressed that tornadoes remain uncommon in the province. Preliminary aerial surveys show several forested valleys were scoured, while several cottages along the St. Sulpice corridor reported roof loss. Power crews are working to restore electricity to affected communities, and local officials are coordinating emergency shelters. The agency will release further details as the analysis progresses, and residents are urged to stay tuned for updates on safety measures.
Later we'll break down how Quebec asylum applications have plunged 57% this year, and what that means for newcomers. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
Welcome back, everyone. We've got the latest headlines, and now Rachel will take us through today's local stories. Over to you, Rachel.
Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada reported a sharp drop in asylum filings in Quebec for the first 5 months of this year. Compared with the same period last year, applications fell by 57%, and the decline deepened to 70% when measured against the same window in the year before. The data show a continued downward trend for 2 straight years, marking the most pronounced reduction since the program began tracking. Officials said the numbers reflect fewer arrivals seeking protection, which could affect the demand for language training slots and settlement services that many local agencies coordinate. The decline also eases pressure on housing providers who often rely on federal assistance for newcomers. IRCC did not provide an explanation for the shift, but the figures underscore a notable change in the province's refugee intake.
Authorities said the investigation into the freight train that left the tracks in northern Quebec last December still has no definitive answer. The Transportation Safety Board of Canada released its final report, stating that investigators could not pinpoint a single factor that caused the derailment. While the board noted a possible link to rapid temperature swings, it emphasized that the precise trigger remains unidentified. The incident, which disrupted rail service for several days, prompted a coordinated response from emergency crews and the railway operator to secure the site and prevent environmental contamination. Officials said the findings will inform future safety measures, but no concrete cause will be cited until further evidence emerges. Residents and businesses that rely on the line are waiting for any steps that might reduce the risk of a repeat event.
More than 58,000 homes in Laval and nearby communities have been without electricity since Wednesday morning, as crews continue to restore service after violent thunderstorms battered the region yesterday. The storms on Tuesday knocked down power lines and damaged substations, leaving thousands of families in the dark during a period when many rely on air conditioning and refrigeration. Utility workers are stationed at several points along the grid, and officials say the repairs could take several days, though priority is being given to hospitals, schools, and essential services. Residents have been advised to conserve battery power and limit the use of hydro appliances until power is fully restored. The outage underscores how quickly severe weather can disrupt everyday life in the area, and authorities are monitoring the situation closely. Updates will be provided as the situation evolves.
Researchers have announced that a form of melanoma skin cancer can be passed from one catfish to another in several lakes spanning Quebec and the northeastern United States. Genetic testing of tumor samples revealed identical mutations, suggesting direct transmission between fish, a phenomenon rarely seen in nature. The discovery raises concerns for anglers and those who harvest catfish for consumption, as the disease could affect fish health and potentially impact local fisheries. Scientists stress that the findings are limited to wild populations and do not imply an immediate risk to humans, but they plan further monitoring to understand how the cancer spreads in aquatic environments. The study, released today, calls for heightened observation of lake ecosystems and may influence future management practices for sport and commercial fishing in the region and the broader ecological balance.
The United States is in the midst of a cyclosporose epidemic that has already infected thousands over the past several weeks. Professor Natalie Granvox of the University of Montreal explained that the pathogen primarily spreads through contaminated water and food sources, not through direct person-to-person contact. She emphasized that casual interactions such as shaking hands or brief conversations pose little risk, though shared meals or untreated water remain a concern. Health officials on both sides of the border are urging travelers to verify water safety and to avoid consuming raw produce from affected regions. For residents who work or shop across the border, the warning translates into a practical need to check restaurant hygiene and to prefer bottled water when uncertainty exists. The outbreak continues to evolve, and authorities are monitoring case numbers daily.
Now let's turn to our weather team for tonight's outlook across the island.
Tonight's clear skies hide a strengthening high and a southwest, jet that will seal tomorrow's warmth. The all-time heat on the state peaked at 32.7 degrees Celsius back in 2016, a blistering mark set during that midsummer heat wave that swamped the province. By contrast, the coldest reading fell to 11.6 degrees Celsius in 2025, a surprise dip that arrived with an early autumn front sliding south from the Great Lakes. Our climate normals for July 22nd sit around 21 degrees high and 13 degrees low, So today's 21-degree peak feels right on the long-term average. Scanning the live radar, the screen is uniformly quiet, no rain echoes across the province. That emptiness reflects the high pressure that has been building aloft, capping any upward motion and keeping the atmosphere stable. With the southwest jet slicing overhead at roughly 79 kilometers per hour, any stray moisture is sheared away before it can organize. I now turn to tonight's outlook. At 11 tonight the city sits under clear skies with a cool 15 degrees, humidity near 63%, and a gentle west wind at 13 kilometers per hour, gusting up to 49. Pressure is rising as a high builds, sealing in the dry air and suppressing clouds. Overhead, the southwest jet streams at 79 kilometers per hour, reinforcing the ridge and steering any lingering disturbance far east. With the ridge anchored, tomorrow's daytime will climb to 21 degrees, the sun reaching a UV index of 6, while the wind will gust up to 48 kilometers per hour from the southwest, feeling brisk. No watches or warnings are in effect. As the night fades, the atmosphere remains locked in this stable pattern, leading us into the next day's forecast. The next 5 days stay under the influence of the same high, keeping temperatures on an upward climb. Thursday will warm to 25 degrees with a clear sky, the wind light from the west. Friday nudges a further degree higher to 27, still dry and bright. Saturday introduces a thick cloud deck, overcast throughout the day, yet temperatures hold at 28 with a mild southwest breeze. Sunday clears again, reaching a summer season peak of 29 degrees under bright sunshine. Monday remains mostly clear, but a 20% chance of rain slips in, tempering the high at 29 while lows stay near 21. The pattern reflects the persistent ridge and the jet stream riding just south of the province, allowing warm air to stream in without major disturbances. And that's your weather. Remember, the wrap is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts.
Traffic is moving smoothly downtown. Today's arts calendar is packed, and the Canadians are gearing up for their season opener. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
And now here's Jason with sports.
Hockey's return is locked in, and Montreal already has a date circled. The 2026 to 2027 NHL season has an opening night, and the Canadians are front and center. According to CBC Sports, Montreal will travel to Scotiabank Arena to face the Toronto Maple Leafs on September 29th, one of two all-Canadian matchups kicking off the new campaign. Edmonton hosts Vancouver in the other. A chapter has closed in Montreal. The Canadians traded longtime forward Brendan Gallagher to the Vancouver Canucks in exchange for future considerations, according to CBC Sports. Gallagher spent over a decade with the organization and became one of the most recognizable faces in Habs history. A long chapter in Montreal Canadiens history has closed. The Habs dealt veteran forward Brendan Gallagher to the Vancouver Canucks in exchange for future considerations. CBC Sports reported the transaction, which sends one of the franchise's most recognizable names out of Montreal.
On a crisp Saturday morning on St. Laurent Boulevard, I met Marie-Claude, a retired schoolteacher who still walks her golden retriever along the riverfront before heading to the market. She told me she's been dreaming of a faster way to visit her grandchildren in Toronto and Quebec City. That dream may soon be a reality. Officials from the National Rail Agency announced that the high-speed corridor linking Toronto and Quebec City will almost certainly include a stop in Kingston, a decision shaped by a flood of public petitions. Imagine the sleek, whisper-quiet train gliding through the historic downtown, its windows framing the limestone buildings that Marie-Claude has taught generations about. The plan promises a 30-minute ride to the border, cutting travel time in half and giving families more moments together. As the sun set over the St. Lawrence, the thought of a smooth, sustainable link sparked a quiet optimism among commuters and heritage lovers alike. It's a reminder that connectivity can bring communities closer, one shared journey at a time today.
At the Scotiabank Theatre on St. Catherine Street, a modest line of car-hailing scooters gave way to a growing crowd of film lovers waiting for the doors to open. The theater, the province's only venue equipped with an IMAX 70mm projector, had not run that format since 2014. Tonight, after a careful refurbishment, the ancient machine whirred back to life. As if it had finally remembered how to speak, its amber glow spilling across the vaulted lobby as the scent of buttered popcorn mingled with the crisp winter air. Inside, the screen stretched almost 300 feet, its surface a deep, almost tangible black that seemed to swallow the room. When the first frame of Christopher Nolan's latest work flickered into place, a collective breath held by the audience dissolved into quiet applause. Families, retirees, university students all leaned forward, eyes tracking the unprecedented clarity of every grain of film, a reminder that cinema can still feel like an event rather than a background. The night proved that a single restored projector can rekindle a city's shared wonder. It's a reminder that community thrives when we gather for something larger than ourselves.
Thanks, Montreal, for joining us on the wrap. Tonight's highlight was the police finally catching the serial burglar after a dozen July break-ins, a reminder that persistence pays off. I'm Peter Miller, and I'll see you tomorrow for more of the city's stories. Stay safe and stay curious.